Good afternoon. Can you hear me? You want me to do that? Okay.
Be sure on your voice, Terry.
The name is Okonski. I'm a write-in candidate for county commissioner. I was in the primary in June. The 6 of us nefarious candidates, and I came in a very close second. I beat the mayor of Libby in the city of Libby, for those of you that don't know, and I won South Lincoln County. So I had lots of people email me, write me beautiful letters, get a hold of me on the street and say, Jerry, we've known you for a long time, we trust you, would you please consider filing as a write-in candidate? Now, these were Democrats and active Republicans and everybody in the whole spectrum, because they knew me from my days with Jane Eels and St. Regis in '75 and onward, and all the community service things I've done in the Libby area. So August 21st, I decided to do that, file as a write-in candidate, because of the people that wanted me to do it. I feel this is for the people. And so I've been active ever since then, going from door to door all over the county. I'll give you a little bit about of my background. I came to Montana in '64, so I'm not a native.
Sure you
But I have 3 daughters that are. And in '68, I graduated from the University of Montana with a degree in forestry. And I married my wife in '68, Mary Ann, my sweetheart. And in '68, I enlisted in the Army because the Tet Offensive in '68, for those of you that remember that, I felt, being an Eagle Scout that I was and a patriot, that I had to do my obligation, so I enlisted for 3. And so '69 through '72, I served in the U.S. Army. They sent me to Alaska.
Maybe you raised too much heck?
But I signed my name on the dotted line for them to send me anywhere they wanted. Okay, then after Army, I went to the University of British Columbia, got a master's in forest engineering. And then in '75, I started with Jane Eels, St. Regis. So I know a lot of the old guys up here, like Jack Garrett, some of the constructors. We had Freddie King. Bill Ingram used to come up here a lot. We'd look at timber sales, that type of thing. So my knowledge of people tends to be back in the '70s, the old guard. And since then, I know Eureka's changed quite a bit. But in 1980, I decided to go make big money. So I went out as a logging contractor on my own. And it was putting up our house for collateral. My wife remembers that. And making our own logging equipment. My old partner and I, we built our own yarder. We ran 3 Skyline yarders in the county. And it was quite a challenge. We employed dozens and dozens of men, and we have our footprint all over the county here, and you can see all of the regenerated forest. Because I go to a lot of these places and I look at the beautiful forest that we do have now, especially up in Basin Creek and Porcupine. You go look at the new forest that's there and what's in between those new forests, especially if you're hunters. So anyway, we did a lot of innovative things, and then we've had the Canadians come down and say, Jerry, would you train us in your techniques, because we want to do what you do. We want to minimize road construction on steep terrain, yet we want to harvest our timber. So we did that. We're running 3 sites here, ran 2 sites in Canada and trained people up to about the year 2000. And then a group of Chileans came through and they said, you know, we like what you do, would you come down and train us? So I did 1 training session down there, and they said, we want you to do more. So I wound up bringing my 3 daughters and my wife down there, and we spent some years in Chile. It was a great experience, observing a small, free market-oriented country. It was, for those of you that want to learn more about Chile's true history, talk to me and I will tell you. So anyway, after 9/11, and my wife called me down in the living room and said, "Jerry, you better look at this." And we were looking on the boob tube, the tower's coming down, and I said, "Well, I guess maybe we better go home. Don't know what's going to happen, and maybe we're needed in our country." So we left, and so we've been here ever since, doing projects, and I still do a little bit of logging with a small cuts and length system. Right now we're working on a Alney. My daughter's a forester, and so she's kind of taken that over. And my other daughter is, second daughter, is going for a doctorate in molecular biology, and my first daughter is, her and her husband head up a free market think tank in London. And they're liberty-oriented people, and I think I'm proud of that. One big thing that she remembers in the top of her head is the Great Log Haul. Because I don't know if any of you were in the auditorium when Mike Mergich got up and said, "We need to haul logs to Darby." And Bruce Vincent, Bud Clinch, and I were sitting there on the benches there in the basketball court, looked at each other and said, "Boy, we got to get working on that one." So we started organizing the log haul, and then it took on all the other forms there. So my daughter remembers that very well. So what do I think we should do with the county here? Well, since Rita is retiring, that left the slot open for, I believe, someone that's got some natural resource orientation. And we've never had that before. And my age is such that, and my energy level is such that I think I can do a good job. I have good business and academic credentials. I've had a lot of community service, and I think I have some pretty good ideas. I can't go into the exact details, but I do know that we need to gain a little more local governance of our resource here on the Kootenai National Forest. We're growing 450 million board feet a year, 300 million dies, where net growth is 150. So we have 300 million board feet accumulating in the forest. And this is one reason where we talk about these wildland urban interface projects as the people start coming in to our county. And this is part of our heritage, is the free flow of people. Restricting people's movements is, I don't think, part of the liberty factor. And so we have to, people are discovering this area, and we have to try and accommodate them somehow. We can't create a chaotic society here. We need to have some rules so we don't affect other people that came here to enjoy the same thing. So we have a lot of issues, like subdivisions, and you people are well aware of that. And we have access issues on the forest. There's a lot of people that, and I'm one of them, feel we're closed out of the forest. I've never owned an ATV or snowmobile, but I know I have lots of friends that do. And I've been literally on my hands and knees throughout most of this Kootenai forest, especially in the Troy area where you get 10,000 hemlocks and anchor growing. And that's about the only way you can get through this stuff. But there's a lot of areas here that I think there's plenty of room for all here. We have primitive backcountry, and I have lots of working forests. And we need to get that working for us to generate, I propose, $8 million a year off the national forest that will go into county coffers. Well, we got this welfare payment apparently in this bailout package for another 4 years. Well, what we need are the tools here to allow us to manage the national forest on a local governance level, so we can generate the cash flow as a county here. So that's going to alleviate our tax burden. It'll allow us to create a little better infrastructure. It just gives us a lot more,